Today's topic is very, very interesting, and that is resilience in a digital world, building a cyber savvy workforce.
Recording in progress.
My name is Saif, and I am the moderator for you today. It's a privilege to be here with such distinguished panel and audience deeply invested in building stronger, smarter, and safer digital workplaces. As technology reshapes our industries, the threat landscape has also equally grown sophisticated, right? So today we are here to explore how organizations can specially build a culture of cyber awareness, resilience, and preparedness, right? Before we start, I would like to quickly introduce the esteemed panel over here, starting with Bhushan Kulkarni. Bhushan is the author of The Irresistible Manager, Managing, Leading, and Thriving in a Disrupted World. This book is due to release in mid of May, which is a powerful playbook for professionals looking to evolve from taskmasters to trusted leaders in today's complex, fast-changing environment. With over 2 decades of experience, Bhushan heads the learning, leadership, and organization development at ICICI Lombard. Congratulations for your upcoming book, Bhushan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next up, we have Olympia Biswas Chatterjee. She is the head of training and development, talent engagement at SBI Securities. Her role involves enhancing talent engagement and fostering a culture of continuous learning, vital for building cyber resilience within the organization. Welcome, Olympia.
Thank you, Seth.
We have Ramakrishna Buddha, Senior Vice President, Global Partner for Fund Solutions and Technology at CSC Financial Services. He leads the global partnerships for fund solutions and technology. With a passion for empowering people and organizations, he brings a wealth of experience in integrating technology solutions to enhance organizational resilience. Welcome, Ramakrishna. Next up, we have Suprita Bhattacharya. Suprita serves as the Chief of Staff at Master Trust, where she focuses on strategic HR initiatives. Her work includes implementing employee well-being programs to address stress and burnout, essential components of a resilient digital workforce. Welcome, Suprita.
Thank you, Seth.
Next up, we have Hunar Khanna, Senior HR Business Partner at Axis Max Life Insurance Limited. Hunar is a strategic HR leader where he aligns people strategies with business objectives to drive growth and success. His expertise lies in fostering a culture of resilience and adaptability, crucial for navigating today's digital challenges. Welcome, Hunar.
Thank you, sir.
Next up, we have Amit Bahuguna. He is the Senior Manager, Talent Acquisition at Muthoot Group. Amit spearheads the talent acquisition, bringing in top-tier talent to strengthen the organization's workforce. His insights into building a robust team invaluable for developing a cyber-savvy workforce. Welcome, Amit.
Thank you.
Great. So as we move on, we're going to start with some initial thoughts, and this has to come from each one of you. Some quick reflections, right? Of what do you think? What does cybersecurity mean to you personally? Right? So this is the question for all of you. Very short and brief. So your personal thoughts should come out. Anyone can start.
Yeah, you want me to
please
take a shot at that?
Please.
Okay, so just attempting, Saif, because this is a bouncer that you started with, the cricket analogy. Cyber security to me is not just a firewall. I think it's a trust wall that in fact protects the most invaluable currency that we deal with every day as individuals and as organizations, and that is belief. Taking a full stop because you asked us to be short on this.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for that.
I think I will also give a try like Bhushan, and I think in layman's term, it is like, protecting your systems and data from digital threats or maybe unauthorized access. So if, for example, for, all of us, most of us are in banking or the insurance world, and I take my example because I work in the insurance industry. So what has happened in insurance is that, last 3 to 4 years, the insurance has, expanded its digital capabilities. And that is why, though there are opportunities, there are threats as well. And, cybersecurity basically means, safeguarding your digital assets, your data against any kind of threats which are there.
So, thanks.
Right.
After hearing my fellow, panelists today, I'd like to describe it that I feel cybersecurity, if you don't get more technical to it, is more of an armor that protects us in our own digital space or world. So if I am active digitally online, I would want my activities or the data that is there is absolutely safe and protected, because I am in that space with my own consent and I am to derive some, benefit out of it. So definitely I would not want myself to pose a threat, and that things are not going to be protected or safeguarded. So I think it's an armor that should protect us in our own digital space. Thank you.
Great, thanks.
Oh, that's a very interesting perspective that you brought in, Suprita. And Saif, allow me to kind of build on the insights that my co-panelists have brought in. I will add the L&D perspective to this. While we do speak about cybersecurity trainings being all about empowering individuals, I would want to speak about 3 key pillars which I believe are most fundamental to cybersecurity. One is continuous learning. Second is behavior shaping in the organization. And third is of skill enhancement. I personally believe if these 3 nuances are taken care of, cybersecurity can be addressed.
Great, thanks, Anuja.
Great. So I think
pitching in, like personally for me, it's about empowerment. I'll say earlier, very early in my career, I saw how a single phishing attack kind of devastated a small business, right? And that moment made me realize, the importance of cybersecurity. And it's not just about technology; it's about enabling people and organizations to kind of operate without fear, right? So that's why I tend to focus more on educating the people as much as on technical controls, right? So that's from my side.
Yeah, thanks. Yes, Amit.
great. So I think as my fellow colleagues briefly and very beautifully they have shared their perspective. To me, cybersecurity is not a compliance checkbook. I mean, if you see to it, I mean, it is a shared responsibility of individual. Every organization is there existing to grow their business, but at the same time, it is our prime responsibility of each individual to protect their data, because where that's your gold mine, which is there for organization to grow. So I think it is everybody's responsibility from the day one when anybody gets into the system. So I think for me the cybersecurity is not a compliance checkbox only, where we need to just tick it and just to go ahead.
Great, great. Thanks, Amit. That was interesting. So some quick thoughts, and I'm sure we're going to elaborate more on these, thoughts, and more insights are going to come out. So moving on to the next section, I have certain questions for individuals. Right. I'm going to start with Hunar first. So Hunar, could you share one highly effective cybersecurity awareness initiative implemented at Axis Life Insurance that has successfully engaged your workforce?
Sure. So before sharing the initiative which we are taking, I will, first try to build the context as why we went for that kind of initiative. So one, if I talk about cybersecurity, one, it is at the broader level, it is the organization's responsibility to, safeguard the data. Secondly, it comes at the individual level as well, as rightly said by Amit, that, it is employees' responsibility as well to safeguard companies' assets or data. So when we focus on the organization, so Max Life as an organization is very tech savvy. We are investing a lot on our digital assets as well. So we are ensuring that, before it goes to the employees, our assets or our data has been safeguarded before it comes to the employees' consumption. On the second hand, we were still facing a lot of challenges because, most of the organizations treat cybersecurity as an IT issue. But I think it is more than that. It has now become an employee or as an individual issue as well. And that is why we wanted this to be part of our DNA or our culture. And for it being a part of the HR team and also managing some aspects of the compliance, we have taken this initiative of having a boot camp around cybersecurity. Though it varies from function to function, but yeah, it's a complete 3-day boot camp which we had, especially for those functions or those roles in the organizations which are very prone to cyber attacks. Maybe somebody in digital departments or somebody who's using AI technology of Max Life Insurance, or maybe somebody who is an underwriter who has access to the entire data of insurance. So that becomes very critical. So we have identified those roles and have come up with a boot camp wherein we focus on those critical roles which are prone to these cyber attacks. Secondly, we have identified some training programs. For example, it's a very trending thing in training, like a DPDP Act. But people who are even in technology, they're not aware of it. So, so these training programs, one focuses on upskilling. Second, making those employees aware about the various cyber attacks. So this is the second pillar which we have in these boot camp. Third is we identify champions. So there are certification course. We identify champions who act as TTTs, train the trainer programs, and then they go back to their function. They train the others. So rather than only focusing on the organizational responsibility, we have made our employees responsible for this cybersecurity, and we have identified those champions, identified those functions wherein this is very important. And simultaneously, we are focusing on other employees as well, but though the focus is less, maybe we are having this small cybersecurity program in our induction or onboarding process. But again, it is not solving the entire purpose. But yes, we do have it just to make our employees aware. But the recently initiative which we have taken is this boot camp which we have brought in. And we also involve our leaders because we believe in this, leadership accountability as well. Because selling any initiative through leaders have larger impact as compared to, just forcing on the employees to follow various cybersecurity, norms or guidelines. So yeah, this is something which we have done from the HR's point of view in Max Life.
Sure. Sounds great. I think, once there's a buy-in at the leadership level, then it can cascade down pretty well. Right. So it also resonates some points that you mentioned, to Amit's point, wherein, it's a shared responsibility. It's not only, one IT team responsible for cybersecurity. Right. That's a great one. So my next question is to Amit. Amit, what's your approach to embedding cybersecurity awareness right from the onboarding new hires, and how do you make it memorable for them?
Correct. Great. So I think embedding cyber security awareness is one of the key pillar for any organization, and that journey starts from onboarding stage. So we ensure that it should be very smart and proactive approach. So there are three aspects where it needs to be reinforced every time. It's a continuous process of training, retraining, and again train the people. So that is the first one. First stage is early stage when we are onboarding people, and then second is engaging people that why this awareness is very very important. And yes, third is very very important, which is stage which is continuous education. So what here at our organization, what we follow it that we integrate this security with into on our onboarding, because that's where any new joiner comes with a fresh mindset, with a empty mindset, to understand that what organization and what is the priority of that organization. So that point of time only we get into it and bang on, especially on orientation session, which includes cyber security fundamental segment. And then we'll give them provide a clear explanation of company security policy, because that's the fresh and that's the first day of their joining. So whatever we give it to them, whatever we incorporate, it imbibe on their mindset that this is the priority of organization. So I think that makes the awareness program more effective and more impactful. And yes, definitely new hires also, we give them a security starter kit, which is a short and engaging guide document which covers phishing mails, password management, how to do safe browsing, and data privacy. So we ensure that their awareness is always backed and based upon real based scenarios. Like if we see in today's world that where we are getting a lot of video calls to have allegation on you, specifically on money laundering or anything from some police station. So I think these are some certain example and live examples which we that how we people are getting aware of. Similarly, in our organization also we make it happen. Then second is it has to be more relevant and role specific, because that's very important. So it has to be tailor examples, wherever training to the new hires, specifically our HR staff who handle sensitive data, confidential data, how to manage it, how to ensure that it should not be, and practicing also. At times, our IT team send them specifically internally phishing mails to understand whether they're clicking, whether they're opting for it by luring some money, or by luring any other ways of means. So that's another key aspect where we make it more relevant and specific, and take the real world scenarios as well. So basically our goal is not to build, not to we have confidence on fear. I mean, if we'll have a fear, then we will tend to make a mistake. But to build a confidence that what system and what awareness we are making it, that should be part of the practice day in day out. And that's what is the key of success of our organization, and practicing in every day. Then immediate access to our security resources. That's we ensure that the how anything happens, then how they can connect to the security team. Any suspicion thing they find it out, if we get a mail from directly from MD office, so we should doubly check it whether this is suspicious or whether it is a authentic one. So that access, ongoing training program, policy documentation, we keep on adding it. And yes, at the end, introducing our company values around securities and ethics. It is not just a training. So we treat cybersecurity like any core skill that is required, and which we strongly believe that it needs continuous reinforcement. It's not one and done. It is every day, every month, and on weekly, and it's on quarterly basis. That's what we approach, we follow it. That's it.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Amit. I think you touched upon a couple of good points. One is imbibing cybersecurity at every step, right? So right from you join till the time you're in the organization, and beyond that as well. So continuous learning is required, and imbibing the whole cybersecurity aspect within your, not only your professional life but in your personal life as well, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. At this point of time, I mean, I'm inviting people, if you have any comments to what your counterparts are saying, please do share your thoughts as well. My next question is to Ramakrishna. So Ramakrishna, given your global experience, right, if you can describe one cybersecurity practice or a training strategy that you've seen work exceptionally well in the international scenario, which organizations here can probably look at and adopt.
Yeah, sure. Great question, Saib. So the industry that I come from, right, is across regions. It's heavily regulated. A lot of compliance practices that we have to undergo. So from a global perspective, one strategy I've seen delivering outstanding results is gamified cybersecurity training platforms, right? Particularly those that kind of reward employees for identifying threats, right? And in markets like APAC and EMEA, companies use a lot of competitive leaderboards and small intensive incentives to drive engagement, and probably leading to something around 40-50% increase in reported suspicious activity. It could be a simple email. So to give you an example, one of the multinational companies that I was working with, based out of US, they've reduced, they were able to reduce phishing attacks, right, by almost 75% by implementing this particular initiative. So employees who failed, simulations received short interactive, training modules instead of punitive measures, and that will help, kind of fostering a positive security culture, right? And as far as coming to India, organizations in India are concerned, I think they could adopt this by integrating gamifications into a lot of the existing training. And I think my co-panelists have already thrown a lot of light on that. So it's as simple as starting with the capture the flag challenge, or something around the team-based quizzes, right? So the whole idea is to make security awareness fun rather than a compliance tick box, right? Which will constantly help in improving participation rates across cultures and across regions. I mean, anywhere it's the same thing, but we'll have to ensure that it is more imbibed in the colleagues that we work with, right? So that's my.
Sure. Interesting, because this now is leaning towards from training some mandatory things to then making it more incentivized, right? And how do you see the difference around that? That's a great thing. My next question is to Suprita. So from a leadership perspective, Suprita, what's one practical step senior management can take to ensure continuous cybersecurity engagement across the organization?
Well, Seth, I think from a leadership perspective, one practical step would be to embed it as a part of your company culture. Cybersecurity shouldn't be a different domain altogether. It should be very well embedded into the company culture by regularly, talking about it, communicating its importance, tying it up to our business objectives, and then recognizing, of course, employees who demonstrate strong security awareness, as my co-panelist just mentioned. Again, now when we talk about ensuring that it is embedded in the system, this would require us to lead by examples. So this cannot just be one responsibility of the cybersecurity team or the IT team, right? Again, as Amit said, it is a shared responsibility. We all have to be part of that culture. So then again, this has to do something with our change in mindset. So the mindset change again has to be there. Sometimes what we forget is that we need to elevate it from just a compliance check. This is not an obligation, right? But we have to elevate it to a core pillar of trust and risk management tool, right? Where we talk about securing our systems, where we talk about data integrity, be it for our own employees or about our customers. The kind of industry, again, that I am into, we also have a lot of regulatory obligations, and then data protection becomes a much bigger importance in our day-to-day routine. And this has to do just not with one set of functional head, but with everybody, be it CRM, be it ops guys, be it HR themselves, right? So a collaborative collaboration of the cybersecurity and the operational heads would mean a lot, and then we can work hand in hand, and then we can actually think of having safeguards, because this becomes a strategy for our sustainable growth, and it would have employee as well as investor confidence. So having your firewalls, having SOC, NOC audits, everything is fine, but again, this has to be a shared responsibility. What data leak protection solutions you have, how we are communicating it to the rest of the people in the organization, that is of prime importance, and that has to be a part of our KPIs as we talk in HR, right? So this is how I think it should work.
Sure. Thanks, Suprita. Moving on, my next question is to Bhushan. So Bhushan, how have you effectively integrated cybersecurity education into ICSA as broader learning strategy? And if you can share some specific impactful example.
Sure, absolutely. So, Seth, the fundamental question that we had in front of us is how do we go beyond, the checkbox activity, okay? And how do we surpass this understanding beyond the knowledge level? Because this cannot get dealt with the only knowledge level kind of a communication to people. So there were a couple of experiments we decided to do. One, we said we will create a live session basis some of the common examples that we come across. So we identified what are the most common examples that are happening repeatedly across the organization, created a few caselets, and then as couple of our panelists were talking about, creating a gamified experience for people. So this was fun, game, and a live session as to how situations can turn wrong. So picking up examples of what could be that WhatsApp's security threat, picking up examples of what could be that email security threat that you may have, an external email, domain name almost looking similar, but just a small dash somewhere, which you tend to overlook in the rush of a lot of activities and mail clearances and all. How to be a little particular. So identifying those areas, highlighting that, demonstrating it live to people. And we said, if you family members, if you're working from home, if your family members also want to, because it's about their personal safety, data safety as well. So then what happened was that entire family started discussing, saying, oh my God. So personal and professional became one of the very important aspects. Then this was complemented with the leaderboard. Yeah. So when you are highlighting those particular behaviors, that got reinforced through very lucrative, nice emailers, that communication, but pictorial representation. Okay. The third aspect was creating a game around it. So people could play, people could practice, and there was a mascot guiding them, saying whether this choice was correct or incorrect. And that's how you build those default muscle memory behaviors, saying if this happens, what are the first two things that should come to my mind? And when that happened, we saw conversations over lunch table saying, oh, so that it becomes more of behavioral rather than restricted to knowledge. It's easy, it's integrated in their flow of work, it's fun for people. And the acceptance levels are much higher in that case.
Yeah, in fact, it becomes interesting when the family also gets involved. I think that initiative, really helps. For not only thinking, in the professional space, but also in the personal space.
Absolutely.
Great. My next question is to Olympia. Olympia, if you could share one innovative learning method or approach you've used at SBI Securities to make cybersecurity training engaging, impactful, and relevant.
Well, since you've thrown me not one, but three challenge words of how to make the training engaging, impactful, and relevant to the target audience, Saif, let me start by talking about one of our key, should I say, steep climbs in the organization, which is the size and the spread of the task force itself. So, with an organization based close to around 20,000 employees and, multilingual, spread across the country, across levels, across grades, the challenge of keeping training engaging and relevant obviously then becomes the key task. So at SBI Securities, keeping this kind of widespread employee base in mind, we employ a multi-dimensional approach to cybersecurity training, which provides a combination of consistency in terms of periodic gamified learning nuggets and the realism of simulated phishing campaigns, which are, I would say, very, very greed-inducing. I will build on it shortly. So that is one thing that we do, talk about the DPDPs of the world, the phishing attacks, cyber threats. We have bite-sized learning, which is again very, very pertinent to our primarily millennial task force. Now, while imparting these essential learning inputs to them, we also focus on, should I say, adaptive skill-based progression of employees, team-based challenges, which kind of induce the element of collective learning. While, yes, my co-panelists have spoken about leaderboards, we do it slightly differently. We do have leaderboards, but we have a provision of leaderboards with privacy, which kind of gives people that comfortable space that, even if they are not doing too well, early adapters or the early finishers are rewarded parallelly. So, while we are rewarding the positive behavior, we are not penalizing any errors or where people are going wrong. When I spoke about the greed-inducing phishing campaigns, I have had instances where, a phishing mail, and these mails obviously are without warning. So I have had campaigns where phishing emails are sent out to all 20,000 employees saying that HR is giving you a Netflix subscription for free. And, with millennials, that that attracts them like bees to honey. I have had so many calls trying to confirm, ma'am, is this correct? Are you really giving us a Netflix subscription? And but then of course all 20,000 cannot reach out to us. So for those who cannot, they unfortunately end up falling prey to the phishing campaign. But having said that, while these campaigns are designed to mimic the real world phishing attacks, they are bereft of those harmful consequences that come along with it. So we've heard idle conversations that hey, did you get that Netflix subscription? Oh no, come on, it's a campaign. So those kind of engaging inputs are given. Of course, in addition to this, we've also integrated cybersecurity with our employee onboarding, which again is a very, very core requirement these days. And we also have a specialized role-based training. So when I say specialized role-based trainings, by virtue of being the SBI group, we have access to niche, customized, specialized trainings which are done for people on the finer nuances of cybersecurity, people who are dealing with cybersecurity and IT aspects in the organization. They are again sent out for very, very specific cybersecurity trainings. So these are some of the initiatives that we at SBI Securities take.
Great, interesting. I really like the example of Netflix. That reminds me, back in the day, I got an email saying that I've won so many millions of dollars. So you just have to contact a number, and I'm sure we might have experienced it. So very, very funny things around cybersecurity as well. Right. So next section is wherein we're going to pair up two panelists together for a quick discussion, right? So first pair is Hunar and Olympia, right? And the discussion point for you all is that how can HR and L&D collaborate to ensure cybersecurity awareness? It remains continuously embedded in employee culture and development.
Thank you for, I think, pairing us together. I think it's a unique blend of HR and the learning function, which I think goes hand in hand. So, Hunar, any initial thoughts that you may have on this?
Yeah, sure. I think it's a very good partnership between HR and N&D because HR comes with those business knowledge, and HR in this case, wherein we talk about cybersecurity, can come up with those nuances which employees are facing, or maybe as we earlier talked about the role-specific nuances or the roles which are prone to cyber attacks. So HRBP can get insights of all these nuances and can place the request with the L&D team, wherein then they can design and curate those programs which can help upskill our employees and maybe create awareness on those kind of cyber attacks. But I think, Saif, by your question, I also meant that you are looking for those initiatives through these partnerships which are sustainable for a long run, not just like some initiatives taken by the organization and then they die slowly and gradually over the period of time.
Right.
So I think this is it. Olympia, maybe some thoughts from you, because what I understand is the HRBP understands business complexity, nuances, and then he reaches out to the L&D team to curate that content or the training programs for the employees.
Great thoughts, Hunar. In fact, to add to what you've already said, and Saif, to address the question that you spoke about, partnership between these two functions, in our scheme of things at SBI Securities, we have integrated the functions themselves with a common reporting. So which means we can use the HR counterparts for their outreach and the L&D counterparts for bringing in those innovative practices and training approaches to the fore. So a couple of thoughts that I would have on this are, like I said earlier, integrating cybersecurity into the onboarding process. So everybody is talking the same language. When the HRBP is onboarding the employee, they are not just talking to them about their everyday actionables and KPIs and reporting structures, but they're also sensitizing them to the nuances of cybersecurity. Similarly, reinforcing the message through internal communication, because the HRBP team is, in touch with the frontliners day in and day out. They are in touch with the business day in and day out. So reinforcing the messages through internal communication, like I said earlier, HR can be used for its outreach to the employees. Developing role-based trainings, I think, is another area where HR and L&D can partner very, very coherently, along with conducting regular awareness campaigns. So I think these couple of practices, if they are successfully executed at an organizational front, they can definitely help promote the cause of cybersecurity. And I would wrap up my thought, Saif and Hunar, with talking about aligning the entire dialogue around cybersecurity with the organizational goals. Uh, it cannot just be an HR agenda or an L&D agenda, or even at the employee level for that matter. It has to be a top-down approach. Cybersecurity has to be a leadership agenda, if you ask me. So aligning cybersecurity with the organizational goals is also of utmost importance.
Right. And just to summarize, I think what we discussed now is that, we have to identify various avenues in the employee life cycle. So as rightly pointed by Olympia and Amit earlier, that, make it a part of the onboarding or the induction process. Secondly, throughout the employee life cycle, I think we can identify other avenues as well. Maybe, one cybersecurity program in every MTP calendar. So, in every organization, we have MTP calendar, which is published on monthly basis. So why not have one cybersecurity program every month for our employees? So that by this, we are not only focusing on the role specific nuances, maybe somebody who has interest in cybersecurity can do that. Or maybe when we are designing IDPs for our team members or for our business leaders, maybe cybersecurity can be one of those courses which our leaders can take, not immediately, but maybe 6 months down the line or whenever they are free. So we can knit all the cybersecurity programs or certifications in our MDP calendar, or otherwise also as per the need basis of various functions. And also because technology is ever evolving. Technology which we are using 2 years back, we are not using it now. It has slowly and gradually evolved. And similarly, all these cybersecurity nuances have also evolved with the technology. So, it can't be that, we do TNI or training needs identification 1 year and it will remain same for, coming years as well. So that is where the HR and L&D has to go hand in hand, wherein we talk to our leaders, we identify, how these nuances are also evolving along with the technology, and then coming up with the right course for that problem. That also, I think this partnership can very effectively solve. And lastly, as Olympia said, we need to get in with interesting gamified campaigns for our employees so that we can take this to the last mile of our employee or workforce. So that's it, Seth, from our end.
Sure. Thanks, Sunar. Thanks, Olympia. Very interesting thoughts. So HR does the outreach, and then L&D kind of puts it in a creative manner to kind of do different things around the learning of the workforce. And of course, one of the factors is that it's not only for the tech team, it's for the entire organization, right? Like each one of us has to understand the importance of cybersecurity. Like Bhushan mentioned, it extends beyond your employees and plus their families, right? So every day we face cybersecurity issues around us, and if the entire workforce, along with all the functions, get to understand more about cybersecurity, it kind of really helps, not only in what they're doing, but also outside of their professional work. Thanks, Sonar. Thanks, Olympia. Next up, I'm going to pair up Amit and Bhushan, right? And the discussion point for you all: how can talent acquisition and learning functions partner more effectively to embed cybersecurity skills from hiring through ongoing employee training?
So
Right.
yeah, interesting. So Amit, do you want to take a shot at that? Initial thoughts?
Yeah. So in fact, Seth, that's a great question, and honestly, a super strategic one. Because when we talk talent acquisition and L&D partnering, I mean that's something is gonna be very very impactful, and that is where every organization stand for. Tomorrow, any employee who gets into the next role, the quality of training and the quality which he has inbuilt over a period of time, there the quality of hiring of people from expectation from talent acquisition team and the kind of training which has been incorporated, that's come into the picture. So I think, embedding cyber security skills, it is one of the key when specifically when we are today we are talking about partnering L&D and talent acquisition. So I think in my understanding, they are like of Jay and Viru. I mean, they go hand in hand, and they cannot be, although they are named as the L&D and talent acquisition separately, but I think baseline they are a part of the HR team only. And it cyber security skills, it turn out into a continuous life cycle of awareness and building a capability, starting from recruitment and evolving throughout the employee's journey. So I think the first is the strategic partnership. That's one of the key. I think that's very, very important, where we collaborate, to define first what is cyber awareness look like across roles, and in fact, we need to accept this fact that not everyone, needs to be an expert on, but at least baseline cyber hygiene should be a part of everybody's KRA. And that's one of the key. That's what I strongly believe. And for certain roles like developers or admins or HR, their specific competencies in terms of the job description and the interviews should also be aligned with that. In the similar manner, their behavioral and scenario based interview question should also be part of it, so that how they will handle the data, how will they respond to a risk or any ethical decision making. That's where the true picture comes into the play. So I think talent acquisition, if you look at it, ensures that while we are hiring, keeping security in mind. But if you look at it, L&D, they ensure that building on that foundation, that security, keeping the security in mind, they are the one who build on that foundation. So TA can work with L&D and the security team to communicate that your culture of cyber security during the recruitment only, like messaging in job ads, on career pages, like we have a Muthoot career page. So we take digital trust very seriously. That's one aspect. And then mentioning ongoing development and certification as an employee value proposition, as my colleague also talked about that. Certification is also key, which will give, as Mr. Bhushan also explained, that giving a personal touch, taking their family also into the picture. And that's one of the key aspect and successful mantra for having a successful cyber security system in place in the system. And yes, embedding the cyber security into the onboarding, it's seamless. L&D will own the training, but TA will play key role in shaping what day one looks like providing cyber security context during induction program, that can be incorporated, ensuring new hires their training deadlines, goal, and access setup immediate basis. That's one. And then including cyber expectation in the welcome material, whatever the material we are giving to our new joiners, their cyber expectation is also very, very clearly given. Although it should be, I think it should be in the handmade book, where it should be given properly. uh, and the next stage, which I strongly believe, is developing a shared learning roadmap. That's one of the key. We should use insight from TA, where the skill gaps in the applicant, what are the trends, to inform our training priorities. And L&D can build different modules on that, like tailor made for general employees, for technical teams, tech teams. For them, there could be a separate little tougher questions on in terms of the cybersecurity. And for the leadership role, it would be a little different. So I think this entire process of tailor making will go hand in hand with the L&D team, and that's gonna be one of the most impactful way to to have this successful program. And lastly, I strongly believe that promoting internal mobility also into the security roles, like TA team can identify potential internal candidates for cyber adjacent roles parallelly, and L&D can build a bridge program like boot camps, as my team colleague also talked about it, mentorship program, specifically to upskill them. So I think that's one of the beautiful pair of and combination of L&D having with talent acquisition team. And that's my submission for this specific aspect.
Great, Amit. When you were talking, I was just observing the passion with which you were kind of, I'm sure you're spearheading few things. And thank you for those nuggets. As I was thinking about this, Saif, uh, two thoughts came to my mind. One is the research that I did for a couple of chapters of my book, and I'll talk about that and why that is relevant here. And the second is manager as a pivot. These two thoughts, and allow me to expand on those thoughts. So one of the chapters was talking about developing interviewing skills for manager. And when I was doing a research around it, saying what could be the best ways in which a manager can have a good interviewing skill. So I took a leaf from someone who I met in conference, and they are from private equity. So this gentleman was from private equity, and I went into a long discussion with this person. I said, you guys put money, revive the company, put a leadership team there. How do you do that? How do you have so much things available with you? Because risks are extremely high, much beyond what any one leader or a manager can even think about. So what is the secret? And he said there is always a scanning and a pool of leaders that is available, and they keep tracking them and their progress and their journey and all of that, and take it up. So that becomes one of the important input for their interviews. Now, why I'm referring that here when we are talking of cybersecurity, that becomes one of the very important considerations when they install, if I may use that word, the CEO for the organization. So one of the esteemed panelists said it starts from top. Yes, it does. This is where it starts, and this is where a talent acquisition team can play an important role. Of course, the leadership panel, but then that's where it starts, and that's how it can cascade, because the organization character, culture gets defined by, in many ways, by top leadership. The demonstrations part of it. So that's one. The another research that I was doing for other chapter of mine, which is talking about how do you foolproof your career in this VUCA world. That's the segment. There are 5 competencies I discovered after extensively looking at things, and one of the competencies is digital literacy. Right. So when you acquire, and as I said, the second pillar was manager pivot. So I'm talking around the manager. Can we equip this manager with digital literacy, what it means, and how does cybersecurity as a component gets an extreme important weightage in the way he or she would really talk to people at an acquisition stage? What are the methods? What are the tools? Some of it gets indirectly addressed in that chapter, but because we are talking of very specific things here, but those are some things I thought I'll bring to the table for your and for the listeners' consideration. And if we follow these two, it gets embedded into that behavior. Now that flows into onboarding again, which again, as I said, that we have created a mascot, and the mascot interacts, and there is a beautiful likability somehow I have seen, which goes much beyond the mailer kind of acceptability for the reader or a viewer, and they are able to kind of engage really well, understand, play with it, safe space, all those things. So yeah, these 2-3 things were coming to my mind when it comes to responding to your question and the integration of L&D and talent acquisition. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Bhushan. Thanks, Amit. Our final pair is Ramakrishna and Suprita. And the point of discussion I want you all to have is some practical ways technology and operational leadership can effectively collaborate to quickly respond and adapt to emerging cyber threats.
Well, Saif, I think it's a wonderful pairing, if Ramakrishna would agree, technology and operations. So one empowers, other one executes. So this is what we have been learning throughout, I'm sure everybody's learning throughout their career as well, that it's a synergy between innovation and implementation. And that is what is propelling the business forward, be it any industry. So I would think that it is an entire process flow, this particular amalgamation, if we talk about. So I think the first step would be collaboration, wherein if I talk about Master Trust Group, we establish a joint cybersecurity task force, wherein we collaborate a cross-functional team of IT, cybersecurity, operation heads, so that they coordinate and understand the real-time threat. The joy is how you share the intelligence and the incidence response learning. So the joy of having a task, and I think it's very crucial also to have a task force in place. Then how we amalgamate, integrate security in our operational workflows, be it a simple onboarding task. Now, onboarding can be of a vendor onboarding, a customer onboarding, can be an employee onboarding, and what measures are we taking to protect those, inputs? So I think linking and conducting such joint simulations that my co-panelists have already talked about would be the next step to this process flow of having a proper cybersecurity system or solution in play. And then eventually we make it a habit, make it a culture wherein we talk about cybersecurity health, link it with their KPIs. Like if there is, it should reflect the health, and then what is the operational impact? What are the patching rates we talk about? What are the intrusion attempts? Then we see the operational impact, downtime kya raha? What about the customer disruption? How are we making, mitigating the risk? And who is analyzing and monitoring those? So it has to go hand in hand, and then ground operation managers or the team leads, they need to be given tools and authority also to act well in time. So you identify the risk, you have systems in place, but if you don't know what to do, who will be doing, if there is no decentralization, that would again create a problem. You have everything in place, but still not propelling. And lastly, I think I've said that it is a mindset, and it becomes a shared responsibility of everybody together. So this is how I think we shape it up here in Master Trust, wherein we talk about, communicate about a lot of trainings, education around the subject, have a task force, keep them in, knowledge sharing is the key, and then probably measure on these aspects also, wherein we analyze the cyber health, cybersecurity health, and the operational impact it has on our workflows and business processes. So this is how I would like to sum it up. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So I think Suprita kind of covered. So to kind of take a cue from the previous example of Jay and Viru, I think technology and operational leaders are akin to your baby boomers and Gen Zs, right? So to respond swiftly to any cyber threat, first of all, both the technology and operational leaders first have to break down silos, right? So I'll like to focus on basically three approaches, practical approaches. So one is cross-functional war games, where IT will kind of simulate attacks like could be a phishing or a ransomware, while the operation team practices business continuity plans, right? So this will kind of uncover gaps in both the technical differences and decision making chains, right? Another tactic could be embedding security teams within business units, right? So for example, if you want to tailor controls, I'll give you an example. In a manufacturing firm, once I advised placing a SOC analyst on the factory floor, right? So this helped us speeding up in vulnerability patching without disturbing the production or disrupting the production, right? So finally, I'm a great fan of dashboard. So if you have an automated risk dashboard that can translate technical alerts or something operational impact figure, something like say an X dollar per downtime risk, that will immediately kind of help the leaders prioritize the resources. I think these three approaches will definitely result in faster, smarter responses, and where security and business objectives can kind of align, right? I think these are three actionable approaches that I would go with.
Great. Thanks, Ramakrishna. Thanks, Suprita. Now we move to the last couple of minutes for the session, and as we close, I want to kind of understand and hear from all of you some of your thought-provoking recommendation to this one simple question. If you had the power to instantly change one thing about how organizations approach cybersecurity, what would it be?
Make dashboards available to all employees, not just to IT.
Right.
One statement, full stop.
Second that. Yes, second that.
Well, I would say that shift the mindset from reactive defense to proactive resilience. I think that is needed.
I think it's also about the perception, what we discussed earlier, that it is not the only organizations or IT's problem, right? So we have to change that mindset also, from a tech first conversation, maybe we have to make it a people first conversations now. And also from a central agenda, we should, drill it down to the employee wise or at the individual level as well. And the easiest way to do is by building in the supervisory accountability. Supervisors who are managing large workforces, they are like influencers in the organization. They can actually influence. So be it any topic. So we can also, drive the cybersecurity campaigns through our supervisors. And again, it will require upskilling them, making them aware as well. So by bringing in right upskilling methods, by making them aware, we can drive this entire agenda through our supervisors.
Yeah, pivoting the manager.
Right.
Yeah.
I think from scale perspective, as companies are growing in size and across different regions, I think one good approach could be assigning a security expert to the operational teams. It could be something like a cybersecurity analyst in a finance or a HR department, right? To start with, I think that will help a lot. And obviously ensuring security policies align with your day-to-day workflows. I think these two will be my 2 cents.
Sure, thanks. Amit?
I think this one cuts right to the heart of the problem. I strongly believe that's what Seth has just shown. I think it's a complete shifting of the mindset that from IT's problem to everyone's responsibility. That single mindset would reset massive ripple effect. If we look at it, cyber security is seen as a very specialized back office function. It's like plumbing or an IT person, as what my colleague has said it. That important is important is that it's not my job. It's actually everybody's job. So people clicking phishing links because IT will deal with it. That has to be changed. Weak password because I'm not working with the sensitive data, so that's okay. I can share it with anyone. Leaders under investing in training because security slows down. So these kind of mindset we have to come out. So but as a whole organization sees security as a shared value, then the behavior starts changing organically as a whole. So if this shift will happen, is what will happen that access would bake the cybersecurity into various business strategies, not just a risk mitigation. Managers would reinforce security practices in day-to-day work, not like any other KPI. Employees would feel personally accountable for protecting their data and system, not just because they are told to do it, because it's the right thing to do. And security teams would seen as a partner, not as a blocker, because we have a DLP, we have a IT team who blocks it also. So it should not be. So if I had a cyber security magic wand with me, I would make it security a cultural norm, not a compliance mandate. And that's where I would like to bang on.
Thanks, Amit. So we have a question in the interest of time, we'll take one question from the audience. And so the audience has asked a question: cybersecurity risks now extend beyond enterprise data to customer trust. How is the organization linking employee training with external stakeholder protection? Anyone would like to answer that?
Yeah, I think I would want to add a few thoughts to that. Sorry, Ramakrishna, would you want to go ahead?
Go ahead. No problem. Go ahead.
Right. So, Saif, in our organization, I think, we are a BFSI company. So, with the number of data breaches that have happened, customer data breaches that have happened in BFSI and otherwise in the past, cybersecurity becomes a very, very sensitive topic. So while we have, our firewalls and our DLPs in place, I think, like I highlighted earlier, making it a cultural nuance is paramount. So when I talk about customer data, my customer data goes all the way to my frontline, to my relationship manager who is managing the dealing desk in broking, to my relationship manager who is acquiring the client account, all KYC documents, to maybe a relationship manager who is taking care of distributing the asset products of the group. So customer data is everywhere. So unless my task force is aware, and the awareness cannot be a spark in a dark tunnel, it has to be a constant beam of light that they can follow. Here are your few do's, here are your few don'ts, and there has to be a constant touch point. There has to be a constant refresher. There has to be a constant PKT, if I have to break it down to that level, a product knowledge test. That, are you aware of these are the few nuances that you should mandatorily take care of to safeguard your customers' data. It can be something as basic as having a clean desk when you're leaving work, not leaving customers' KYC documents at your desk. So drilling it down to the basics and building a culture, a cybersecurity culture around it is, I think, the only way to safeguard the customer data that we have.
Great, thanks, Anupriya. All right, thank you. We wrap it now. Thank you all to our esteemed panelists for such insightful, discussion, and the strategies and the, different thoughts that came across. It was truly enriching. Thank you so much for that. And as we wrap up, we've seen resilience in a digital world is not just about technology, right? It's about people, culture, and continuous learning. At Regenesis, we remain committed to enabling organizations to navigate this journey through future-ready training, leadership development, and strategic skilling interventions. To our audience, thank you so much for joining in. We look forward to engaging with you further in our upcoming sessions. Until then, stay secure and stay future-focused. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. Thank you, Seth. Great moderation. Thank you, all of you. Thank you, the audience.
Thank you, Seth, and everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for your beautiful contribution. Thank you.
Thank you.